Good morning, Africa. It's another beautiful Monday morning, the start of a new week. And guess what? It's another episode of The Conversation here on TOS TV Network, your digital first Pan-African network. I am Adesuwa Osui.
And I'm Osazet Cecil. It's always great to come your way, bringing you informative, educative stories all across Africa. It's a beautiful Monday morning.
Okay, so without wasting much time, we're going to go on a quick break, and when we get back, we are going to be taking you through stories and happenings across the African continent. Okay, welcome back. Moving straight into, development stories from across Africa, starting with Malawi, where health services, the health services are under pressure as coronavirus cases spike. A makeshift hospital in Malawi has opened as hospitals are overwhelmed by the influx of coronavirus patients. In Malawi's second largest city, Blantyre, health workers are under pressure and having to work in tents. Our available resources, especially in terms of oxygen, are insufficient. We have to ask people to buy the equipment, said Maziko Matemba, community health activist. However, as community activity slows down, people have no money and they have almost no way to pay for health expenses. Malawi was relatively unscathed by the virus outbreak in 2020, but now faces a new, fast-spreading wave of the disease. I think that's the situation across major African countries.
Yeah, and now still on COVID-19. COVID-19 second wave sees a higher death rate in Africa. COVID-19 second wave sees a higher death rate in Africa. Now, according to a public address given on Thursday in Addis Ababa by John Nkengasong, the director of the African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, which sees new variants of the virus reported by experts to be more contagious, is having an even more devastating impact than the first time around as far as the continent's death rate is concerned. He expressed himself saying, unfortunately, also in Africa, 93,000 individuals have died from the COVID-19, leading to a case fatality rate of 2.6%. So again, the global case fatality rate is 2.2%. The continental case fatality rate is 2.6%.
The spike in the COVID-19 cases that we keep seeing is quite overwhelming, and I hope that people, keep taking precautions and, the vaccines get here in time, and so we see, reduction in the number of cases and, deaths. Okay, moving on, we are going to go on another break, and when we get back, it's a time to show you or take you through what the national dailies are saying today.
All right, let's take our COVID-19 update quickly. Let's see what the figures are all across Africa.
North to South Africa, to West Africa. TOS TV Network is your digital-first Pan-African news network, bringing you news from across the continent. Visit our website www.tostvnetwork.com and follow us on social media at TOS TV Network on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Watch us on television, channel 138 on TSTV Africa.
Welcome back. That was our COVID-19 updates. That's the updates, actually, the numbers, the figures from across Africa. Now, moving straight into, the newspaper headlines for this morning, I'm going to be starting with the News Direct. And the very gaping headline on there is, the issue on the mouth of a lot of Nigerians today. No going back on cryptocurrency ban, says the Central Bank of Nigeria. And then on top of the News Direct this morning, Buhari, Tinubu, Mo Ibrahim, Fashola, Adesina, Okonjo-Iweala to speak at Ekimbeti next week. Dangote commences feeding of 1 million malnourished children. And on COVID-19, Nigeria to receive 16 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine. And then just at the bottom of the Nigerian News Direct, November 2020 performance, NNPC records 13.43 billion naira trading surplus. Stay away from Ogun parks and garages, Abiodun warns NURTW. Osun State declares 24-hour curfew in Irepadun. I think that's in line with the Orolo councils. That is the headlines on the Nigerian News Direct this morning.
Okay, we now move on to the Punch newspaper, and the very, very bold headline there says petrol price may hit 190 naira as oil nears $60. Petrol price may hit 190 naira as oil nears $60. And underneath that we have, so we know that depending on what exchange rate you use, the pump price should be between 185 naira and 200 naira per litre, says Moman, M-O-M-A-N. The next one is IPMAN, Ipman, says, but now that oil price has even gone to $59, then pump price should not be less than 200 naira per litre. There is no way Nigerians can avoid petrol price increase. And then NNPC says, I think it would be premature to say, because it has to be based on whatever PPPRA works out as to the pricing. The market is already deregulated. So if you want to get more story on what is going on in the petroleum industry and also as regards the pricing, the Punch newspaper is a newspaper to pick up. Now, Central Bank of Nigeria says on page 26 of the Punch newspaper, cryptocurrencies breed illegal activities, raise risk. Cryptocurrencies breed illegal activities, raise risk. It has the picture of Emefiele behind, and then it says cryptocurrencies breed illegal activities and raise risk. All right, next to that you have on page 2 of the Punch newspaper, Ekiti, Ondo deploy Amotekun in forest boundaries against herdsmen. Ondo task force combs forest for errant herdsmen. No killer herdsmen in Ekiti forest, Fireme's aid. Also, you can also find on the Punch newspaper, pregnant cop Ekiti sues IG, says police regulations violate constitution. Now, next to that is suspected herdsmen slaughter farmer on Ogun farm. And also you can find on page 37 of the Punch newspaper, Nigerian Medical Association attacks Health Workers Union, says Joesu envious. So more of those interesting headlines you would find when you grab a copy of the Punch newspaper this morning.
Okay, moving over to the Daily Trust this morning, I'm going to start from, the gaping headline that is basically on the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, as read on the Punch newspaper this morning. The first headline there says 26 killed in Kaduna, Edo, Osun attacks. The first rider under that says customs officer, 4 others abducted in FCT. Taraba NLC chair regains freedom. Then on top of that, membership registration, Benue APC ward chair killed. Furore over CBN ban on cryptocurrency. Furore over CBN ban on cryptocurrency. And then police kill 8 in Edo, nab 6 kidnappers in Abuja. That is, and then just, underneath the Daily Trust this morning, it says federal government to repatriate 4,982 Borno refugees in Cameroon. 3 Almajiri, 8 others burnt in tanker fire. NDLEA seizes 1.4 billion naira cannabis in Edo village. Those are the headlines on the Daily Trust this morning. Quite sad, actually.
All right, away from the headlines regarding politics and, of course, metro stories, we move over to Business Day. And now on Business Day, you have this. It says revised PIB won't guarantee Nigeria's energy security. It says revised petroleum industry bill won't guarantee Nigeria's energy security. And by the side, you have an inside. It says 50 public servants to get Oxford scholarships by AIG. AIG is Africa Institute for Governance. It says 50 public servants to get Oxford scholarships by AIG. And then just underneath that, on page 31 of Business Day newspaper, it says 1.8 billion naira daily subsidy worsens Nigeria's precarious finances. 1.8 billion naira daily subsidy worsen Nigeria's precarious daily finances. And then on top of that story, you have something like a report. It says, here's a low budget route to home ownership. So if you're interested in owning your own property, I think that story or that report will come in handy this morning from the Business Day newspaper. And that's it. That's a wrap for the newspaper headlines this morning. Yeah,
so don't forget to get a copy of any or all of the dailies that we showed you this morning, so you can get information and update yourself on happenings around situations, economy in the Nigerian economy and the Nigerian state. Moving away from the national dailies this morning, we're going to go on a quick break, and when we get back, it's a bit time for the big story.
TOS TV Network mobile app is now available. You can now catch up on our breaking news, stream our programs live, watch out for the latest update on sports and politics as they unfold. You can also get notifications for our upcoming programs and events. All these on our TOS TV Network mobile app, available on Apple Store and Google Play Store. TOS TV News from Africa by Africans.
Being a journalist means in-depth analysis that unravels hidden truths, that question the status quo and fact-checks government.
These criminal elements hiding under the cloak of surveillance contractors are the APC elements.
Do you have facts to prove that? Being a journalist means waking up every day with a burning desire for peace, equity, and justice for all citizens.
We're being told that the choice you have is to take the lesser of two evils.
It means patriotism via the prism of objectivity and accountability. It means giving my platform to the masses to discuss issues that matter to them.
Some of them, if they bring budget, and the budget they look. Some they sleep. They're going to ask how much we are on. I have it.
Thereby shaping government policies and laws. My name is Osasu Ignatia, and
On me. This is the conversation here on TOS TV network. Can't you hear? And it's time for the big story. Now, today on the big story, if you check all the headlines, it's been COVID-19. I am unprofessional.
So just say.
No, let's just. Welcome back. It's still TOS TV Network, and you're watching the conversation live on your digital first Pan-African News Network. It's time for the big story. COVID-19 has been a major issue across front page newspaper headlines. It's been on the front burner, even in Abuja, Nigeria. Even up till the weekend, there's been several arrests here and there for citizens and people who have, flagrantly over and over again flouted the COVID-19 guidelines. So today we're looking at this document that was released by the federal government of Nigeria. It's a document that was put together by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 in Nigeria. And the president has assented to every single regulation that is on that document. It's titled Coronavirus Disease COVID-19 Health Protection Regulations 2021. So we'll just share a few of the major high points of the document with you. It's a 9-page document that was put together by the PTF. Now, it says, in the exercise of the powers conferred upon me, this is the president saying by Section 4 of the Quarantine Act Cap Q2 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2010, and all the powers enabling me in that behalf, and in consideration of the urgent need to protect the health and well-being of Nigerians in the face of the widespread and rising numbers of COVID-19 cases in Nigeria, I, Muhammadu Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, hereby make the following regulations. So this has been assented by the President himself. Now, the part 1 is on restrictions on gatherings. The part 2 is on operation of public places. And the part 3 of the document is on mandatory compliance with treatment protocols. And the final one is, part 4 is offenses and penalties. Part 5 is enforcement and application. Then part 6 is interpretation and citation. The document has the signature of the president, and it was made in the Federal Capital Territory on the 26th of January 2021. Now we'll just take 1 point each in each part. So we get to educate and inform our viewers to take very seriously the COVID-19 protocol. So even if you're watching outside Nigeria, in Africa, it's really, really important. Now, the number 1 says, at all gatherings, a physical distance of at least 2 meters shall be maintained at all times between persons. So number 2 says, notwithstanding the provision of Regulation 1, no gathering of more than 50 persons shall hold in an enclosed space, except for religious purposes, in which case the gathering shall not exceed 50% capacity of the space.
Yes. And then this one, the part 2, is on operations of public places. Now, that includes, market, malls, supermarkets, shops, restaurants, hotels, event centers, leisure parks, and all of that. It says no person shall be allowed within the premises of a market, mall, supermarket, shop, restaurant, hotels, event centers, gardens, leisure parks, recreation centers, motor parks, fitness center, or any other similar establishment, herein collectively referred to as establishments, except so you're not going to be allowed into any of those places if you're not wearing a face mask that covers the nose and the mouth. So for you guys that always cover the mouth and leave out the nose, you have to cover both the nose and the mouth. And then you have to wash your hand or clean your hands using hand sanitizer approved by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration, NAFDAC. So the hand sanitizer you're going to use has to be NAFDAC approved. And then your body temperature has to be checked for you to be allowed access into any public place.
Okay, now move over to part 3 of the document, which deals with mandatory compliance with treatment protocols. Now, the health and safety protocols and guidelines are issued by the PTF on COVID-19 on the recommendation of the NCDC and shall be binding on all persons. So it means all of these regulations is being issued by the PTF with compliance from the NCDC, and every citizen is expected to follow those guidelines and regulations.
And then this one is part 4, the offenses and penalties. So if you offend or if you're faulted, if you're found at fault, this is your penalty. Any person who contravenes the provision of this regulation commits an offense. And any person who, without reasonable cause, contravenes the direction under parts 1 and 2 of this regulation commits an offense. Any person who, without reasonable cause, obstructs an authorized official from enforcement of this regulation commits an offense. And an offense under this regulation is punishable on summary conviction by a fine or a term of 6 months imprisonment, or both, in accordance with Section 5 of the Quarantine Act. So if you don't do any of those, or somebody's trying to give you hand sanitizer or ask you to wear your face mask and you're like, no, well, you're an offender, and then you're either going to spend 6 months in jail or you have to pay a fine, or both, depending on, the level of the offense.
So this has the full weight of the law,
Yeah.
has the full backing of the law. So
Yeah.
it means if you are an offender, you have breached the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Exactly.
Now, part 5, which is where we're going to draw the curtain, enforcement and application. It says any officer of the enforcement agencies who fails, neglects, or refuses to enforce the provisions of these regulations shall be subject to disciplinary action by the disciplinary body of his respective agency.
Yes.
The provisions of these regulations shall apply throughout the Federal Republic of Nigeria. State governments may issue regulations on further steps as may be considered necessary. Now, this will have a very pertinent question for you.
Okay.
What do you think could be the possible reason why not just Nigerians, but most persons, irrespective of this awareness that has been created across boards, irrespective of this document that has been released, will still go ahead to breach the COVID-19 regulations?
There are quite a number of people that have said, there's no COVID. It's just hoax. They're just trying to, limit us, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people still don't believe that COVID-19 is a thing. And so having, all these protocols and blah, 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 to them, they're just bluffing. Do you understand that? And I think that's one reason why a lot of people will still not, adhere to instruction. And then, I'm Nigerian and I've lived here most times, so I can only speak largely for Nigeria. Nigerians are, very lackadaisical about things that are, because they feel like I could get away with it somehow. Do you understand? Like, I could get away with it, or I could form something. That's why, I think that's why in part of the regulation, there's a part that says if you obstruct anybody from doing the job, or if you refuse, all of that, that's also an offense. Try to get away with it. Trying to get away with not adhering to instructions is also an offense. I think that's another reason. And then religion plays an important role in this, because I've heard quite a number of religious leaders tell you, how can you have faith in God and still believe in COVID? Or how can you be a Christian, or how can you be this and still, believe in stuff like this? You don't have to wear a mask because God's going to protect you and stuff like that. And so having to hear that every time, but Nigerians religious leader very strongly, more than the government and the authorities. So if your religious leader says don't wear a mask, a lot of Nigerians won't wear a mask. And so that's why the onus falls on both religious leaders, authorities and everybody, because I know I'm a Christian and I know that there's part of the portion of the Bible that says that you should obey, authorities. So your pastor should be preaching that to you. So if the government says wear a mask, okay, we understand that you have faith in God, but when you're in public place, please wear a mask to protect that people who don't have that same faith that you do. So yeah, you can protect them as well.
All right, our parting message to you this morning as we wrap up the big story is to please do all your best in all capacity that you can to keep to the COVID-19 regulations and protocols.
Yeah.
Largely, it's for your own safety.
Yeah.
It's for your own health. If you really do care about yourself and the people around you, it's something that you should take extra care to ensure that you put in place. And that's what I said a lot. Religious leaders, you should go ahead to say these things. Talk about it, on your church services and programs, and get your followers. As a leader, the onus is on you to get to secure your own followers. And one of the ways to do that is to ensure that they get on the way in, doing all they can do to ensure that they adhere to the COVID-19 protocols.
Exactly. And one more thing I'm going to say, if you know you don't want to adhere, please don't go out. If you must go out, then please comply. I don't want to see you in jail. Like, just for not wearing a mask. That's the most silly reason for going to jail, just not wearing a mask.
Silly, yeah, because of course there are very, very grave, more grave crimes,
yes,
you know,
that you
than,
could commit,
that.
and then
So
you're in jail for not wearing a
face mask cost?
Yes.
You know, how much does it cost, you know, to ensure that your gathering does not exceed beyond 50 persons?
Yes, exactly.
You know, yeah.
All right, thank you so much for joining the show this morning. It's been the conversation here on TOS TV Network, and you already know that you should follow TOS TV Network across all social media platforms. TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll also subscribe to our YouTube channel at TOS TV Network. Visit our website at www.tostvnetwork.com for stories across, you know, politics, governance, lifestyle, entertainment, and everything you want to know from our cross-board. I am Adesa Welsi.
And I'm Osaze Cecily. Until we come your way again tomorrow, do take care of yourself as we all stay alive together.